In the beginning, there was nothing, just darkness and God's presence. Then God said, "Let there be light," and light appeared, separating day from night. This was the first day. On the second day, God created the sky, separating the waters above from the waters below. On the third day, He gathered the waters into seas and let dry land appear. God then made plants, trees, and every kind of vegetation to cover the earth. On the fourth day, God created the sun to rule the day, the moon to rule the night, and the stars to fill the sky. The fifth day brought life to the waters and skies, fish, whales, and birds, each according to their kind. On the sixth day, God made the animals that walk on the land, lions, cattle, and all creatures. Then God created humans in His own image, male and female, giving them dominion over all the earth. On the seventh day, God rested, blessing it as a holy day, completing His perfect creation. This story reminds us that everything around us is part of God's grand design, created with purpose, beauty, and love. Lesson: God is the ultimate creator, and all of creation reflects His glory.
Have you ever felt like you're caught between the choices, unsure which way to go? Well, there's an incredible story from ancient Israel that talks about exactly that at the time. Many people were confused. Worshipping a false god named Baal instead of the one true God, a brave prophet named Elijah decided it was time to settle the matter once and for all. He gathered everyone on Mount Carmel for a dramatic showdown. Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal. "How long will you waver between two opinions?" He asked the crowd. "If the Lord is God, follow Him. But if Baal is God, then follow him." The challenge was simple: 2 altars, 2 sacrifices, but no fire. They would each pray to their God, and the one who answered with fire would be declared the true God. The prophets of Baal went first. They shouted, danced, and pleaded with their God from morning till night. But there was only silence. Nothing happened. Then it was Elijah's turn. He repaired the Lord's altar, placed a sacrifice on it, and did something incredible. He drenched the entire altar with water. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, until water filled a trench all around it. Then Elijah prayed a simple, powerful prayer. Instantly, fire shot down from heaven. It consumed everything: the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the soil, and even all the water in the trench. When the people saw this amazing display of power, they fell on their faces and shouted, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" That day, there was no more doubt. Everyone knew who the one true living God really was. What an incredible story of faith and power. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories.
In the town of Bethany lived 2 sisters, Mary of Bethany and Martha of Bethany, and their brother Lazarus of Bethany. One day Lazarus became very sick. The sisters quickly sent a message to Jesus Christ, saying, "Lord, the one you love is sick." But before Jesus arrived, Lazarus died and was placed in a tomb. 4 days later, Jesus finally came to Bethany. Martha ran out to meet Him and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Jesus comforted her and said, "Your brother will rise again." Then Jesus made a powerful declaration, "I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live, even though they die." When Jesus arrived at the tomb, He saw the grief of Mary and the people around them. The sorrow moved Him deeply, and the Bible records the shortest verse in Scripture: Jesus wept. Jesus then told the people to roll the stone away from the tomb. Martha hesitated because Lazarus had already been dead for 4 days. But Jesus prayed to God and then cried out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." To everyone's amazement, Lazarus walked out of the tomb, still wrapped in burial cloths. Jesus told them, "Unwrap him and let him go." Through this incredible miracle, many people believed that Jesus truly had power over life and death. Have you ever felt like you've hit rock bottom with nowhere left to turn? Today, we're diving into a powerful story about hope when all seems lost. There once was a widow whose husband, a faithful man, had died, leaving her with massive debts. The creditors were on their way, not to take her things, but her 2 sons as slaves. Can you imagine her desperation? In her darkest hour, she cried out to the prophet Elisha for help. Elisha asked her a simple question: "What do you have in your house?" she replied. "Nothing at all. Except a small jar of oil." That tiny bit of oil was all she had left, but Elisha saw potential. He told her to go and borrow as many empty jars as she could from her neighbors. Don't just get a few, get a lot. Then, he gave her a strange instruction: go inside, shut the door, and start pouring her little bit of oil into all those empty jars. She obeyed, and something miraculous happened. The oil didn't run out. It kept flowing and flowing, filling every single jar she had gathered. When the last jar was full, the oil finally stopped. She ran back to Elisha, amazed. He told her, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on the rest." This story is a beautiful reminder that even when we think we have nothing, a little bit of faith can lead to an overflow of blessings. What seems insignificant in our hands can become a miracle. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories. Or witnessed a miracle, or maybe just hoped for one with all your heart? Let me tell you a powerful story about a woman who did just that. In the ancient town of Shunem, there lived a kind and wealthy woman who often hosted the prophet Elisha. Seeing she had no children, Elisha prophesied she would have a son, and a year later, she did. Her joy was immeasurable. But years later, tragedy struck. Her beloved son suddenly fell ill and died in her arms. Can you imagine her heartbreak? But this woman's faith was extraordinary. Instead of just grieving, she laid her son on Elisha's bed, saddled a donkey, and rushed to find the prophet. When she found Elisha, she fell at his feet, full of anguish, but also full of hope. Elisha went to her house, entered the room where the boy lay, and prayed intensely to God. He then lay over the child, and miraculously, the boy's body began to warm. He did it again, and the boy sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. He was alive. This story isn't just about a miracle. It's about a mother's relentless love and unwavering faith in the face of the impossible. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, hope and faith can lead to incredible outcomes. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe for more.
Ever feel like you're facing an impossible problem? Imagine this, a crowd of over 5,000 people, hungry and tired, gathered on a hillside. The disciples are stressed, saying, "Send them away. We have nothing to feed them." It's a huge crisis, right? But then, a young boy steps forward. All he has is his lunch, just 5 small barley loaves and 2 little fish. It seems like nothing, absolutely not enough, but he offers it anyway. Jesus takes this small gift, looks up to heaven, gives thanks and breaks the bread. Then something incredible happens. The disciples start handing out the food. And there's enough for everyone. And not just enough, everyone ate until they were completely full. When they gathered the leftovers, there were 12 baskets full. This story isn't just about a miracle. It's about how even the smallest act of generosity, when placed in the right hands, can multiply beyond our wildest dreams. It shows us that with a little faith, what seems insignificant can make a world of difference. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing stories. One day, Jesus Christ and his disciples were walking through the streets of Jerusalem when they saw a man who had been blind since birth. The disciples asked Jesus, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered that neither the man nor his parents had sinned. Instead, this happened so that the works of God might be revealed through him. Then Jesus did something unusual. He spat on the ground, made mud with the saliva, and gently placed it on the man's eyes. Jesus then told him to go and wash in the pool of Siloam. The man obeyed. He went, washed his eyes in the pool. And something incredible happened. For the first time in his life, he could see. His neighbors were amazed and asked, "Is this not the same man who used to sit and beg?" Some said it was him, while others thought he only looked like him. But the man kept saying, "I am the one." The religious leaders questioned him about how he received his sight. He simply replied, "The man called Jesus made mud, put it on my eyes, told me to wash, and now I see." Through this miracle, Jesus revealed that he is the light of the world, bringing sight to the blind and hope to those in darkness. Hey everyone, have you ever been to a party where the host's worst nightmare comes true? They run out of drinks. It's awkward, right? Well, today, let's talk about a wedding that almost had that exact problem. but had a very special guest who saved the day. We're heading back in time to a small town called Cana. There's a joyful wedding celebration happening. Everyone's having a great time. And then disaster strikes. The wine is gone. Imagine the panic. The host would be so embarrassed. Jesus was at this wedding with his mother, Mary, seeing the problem. Mary went to Jesus and simply said, "They have no more wine." She knew her son could do something extraordinary. Jesus then told the servants to fill 6 large stone water jars with water. Each jar held about 20 to 30 gallons, so that's a lot of water. The servants did as he asked, filling them to the brim. Then Jesus said, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." When the master tasted it, he was stunned. He had no idea where it came from, but it wasn't just wine, it was the best wine of the entire evening. He even complimented the bridegroom, saying, "You've saved the best for now." This wasn't just a cool party trick. It was the very first miracle Jesus performed, showing a glimpse of his divine power and his care for even the small details of our lives. It turned a moment of potential shame into one of abundant joy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.
Long ago, the world had become filled with violence and wickedness. But one man, Noah, found favor in the eyes of God because he was righteous and faithful. God told Noah that a great flood was coming to cleanse the earth. He instructed Noah to build a massive ark and gave him detailed instructions on how to construct it. Noah obeyed and spent many years building the enormous vessel. God also told Noah to bring his family into the ark along with animals of every kind, 2 of each, male and female, so they could survive the coming flood. When everything was ready, Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives entered the ark with the animals. Soon the rain began to fall. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The waters rose higher and higher until they covered the entire earth. Everything outside the ark was destroyed. But inside the ark, Noah, his family, and the animals were safe. After many months, the waters finally began to recede. Noah sent out a raven and later a dove to see if the land had dried. When the dove returned with an olive leaf, Noah knew the earth was becoming dry again. When they finally left the ark, Noah built an altar to thank God. Then God placed a rainbow in the sky as a promise that he would never again destroy the earth with a flood. And that rainbow became a lasting sign of God's covenant with humanity.
Long ago in Israel, there lived a man named Samson, chosen by God to be incredibly strong. From birth, he was a Nazarite, which meant his hair must never be cut, as long as his hair remained uncut. God's power gave him supernatural strength. Samson used this strength to fight against Israel's enemies, the Philistines. But the Philistine rulers wanted to defeat him, so they went to a woman named Delilah, whom Samson loved. They offered Delilah a large amount of silver to discover the secret of Samson's strength. Delilah kept asking Samson again and again, "Tell me the secret of your great strength," at first. Samson teased her with false answers, but she continued to pressure him day after day until he finally revealed the truth. "My strength comes from my hair, which has never been cut." That night, while Samson slept on Delilah's lap, she called a man to shave off his 7 locks of hair immediately. Samson's strength left him. The Philistines captured him, blinded him, and put him in prison. But over time, Samson's hair began to grow again. One day, the Philistines gathered in a great temple to celebrate. Samson was brought out to entertain them, standing between the temple's pillars. He prayed to God for strength one last time. With a mighty push, Samson pulled down the pillars, collapsing the temple and defeating the Philistines. Even in his final moment, Samson's strength came from trusting God, and that is the story of Samson and Delilah, a lesson about trust, obedience, and the consequences of revealing what God has entrusted to us.
Over 2,000 years ago, in the town of Nazareth, a young woman named Mary was engaged to a carpenter named Joseph. At that time, the Roman Emperor Augustus ordered a census requiring everyone to